Jamie Carragher blasts Mohamed Salah as being selfish. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. Today's video is going to centre around the comments that Jamie Carragher made on last night's edition of Monday Night Football in response to the Mohamed Salah situation currently going on at Liverpool. As I talked about yesterday, Mohamed Salah went into the mix zone yesterday in the aftermath of Liverpool's game against Southampton, in which he basically called out the club, saying that nothing is set in stone, nothing is happening at the club in terms, well, very little is happening at the club in terms of talking about a new contract, and that he is more out of the club than he is in it. He went on to say that whilst he will give his all for Liverpool and whilst he will still be a model professional whilst being in a Liverpool shirt, with very little to no movement on his future, long-term future that is beyond the end of this season when his contract is set to expire with the Reds, he said he is more out than in at the club. And Jamie Carragher has come out and said that he seems to think that this is selfish on Salah's part to be talking about his contract situation in the public domain. We're going to be talking about this issue. We're going to be talking about Carragher's comments. We're going to be talking more about this Mohamed Salah situation as well. But before we go any further in discussing all of that, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you are new. Both things are always and forever greatly appreciated. Get involved in the comment section. I'm sure you have a lot of interesting thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it in regards to Carragher's comments or the Salah situation going on at Liverpool right now. So please do use and abuse that comment section, people, and talk to me on this issue. I would love to know what you guys have to say about it all. Right, now that that's out of the way, let's get on with the video. Let's talk Jamie Carragher's comments on the Mohamed Salah situation, in which he basically said Salah is selfish. For those of you who didn't watch last night's edition of Monday Night Football, they basically put out a clip in which Jamie Carragher is being asked questions by the host about the Salah situation, about Salah's comments in the mix zone on in the aftermath of Liverpool's victory over Southampton on Sunday. For those of you who don't know what the mix zone is, it's basically like press. It's basically interviews, press that are there that want to get interviews with players. Players have to walk through there, and it's an opportunity for players to talk to the press if they want, or if they just want to blank them, they can easily do that. Mohamed Salah is notorious for normally blanking interviews in that kind of mix zone. It's been reported and talked about that he's only ever stayed in that mix zone twice before Sunday. One, I believe, was when he scored a certain number of goals. I can't remember how many specifically it was, 40 or 50 in my head. And he gave an interview then. He also gave an interview after the Champions League triumph against Tottenham back in 2019. And the third time was obviously on Sunday, where he basically called out the club and talked about his current contract situation. Carragher, when asked about his comments on Monday Night Football, wasn't exactly too pleased with Salah. For those of you who have not seen the clip, Carragher basically goes on to say that this Salah situation is an unwanted distraction from what is a big week ahead for Liverpool, with obviously us facing the likes of Real Madrid in the Champions League, and of course a massive, massive game on Sunday against Manchester City in the Premier League, in which we could move 11 points clear of Pep Guardiola's side of a win. He says that that should be the story, not this overlooming shadow that is Mohamed Salah. He says the important thing is winning and not about him. It's not about individual players at the club. It's about winning the Premier League title. It's about winning trophies. It's about success as a collective unit. He then goes on to call him selfish and says that he hates the kind of cryptic messages he's putting out there into the media, whether it be through himself with the comments that he made in the aftermath of Sunday's victory, or whether it be through his agent online and on social media and stuff like that. And then he goes on to talk about how certain Liverpool legends have left the club in previous years, previous eras, and Liverpool have always gone on to succeed without them. Liverpool have always gone on to win major honours without big Liverpool legends being at the club or leaving the club in years gone by. My take on everything is that there is very little that I agree with here. I agree with him to an extent on a couple of things, but I think for the most part, I agree only in short instances, and I think he's looking at it through the wrong perspective and the wrong lens. For example, I agree with him that this is an unwanted distraction. I agree with him that we should be focused on the games at Real Madrid and Manchester City this week. But it's not because of Mohamed Salah that we're talking about this issue. It's not because of Mohamed Salah that this is an overlooming shadow at the club, which is a horrible and potentially growing distraction from our season that is looking very promising right now. It's on the club. It's on the club. I have no issue with what Salah did on Sunday. No issue whatsoever with what Mohamed Salah did on Sunday in regards to calling out the club and basically putting where his contract situation lies currently into the public domain. I have no issue with that. This is not on Salah whatsoever. This is on the club. This is a club issue. And if the club had been well run in previous years, we wouldn't be talking about Salah being in the final year of his current contract. Plus, it would have been a media spark story anyway. Like, just because Salah's basically come out and stated where his mind is at, where his head's at in this current moment in time regarding his contract situation, the media, and Sky in particular, so Jamie Carragher can't be talking badly about Salah in this regard, because this would still be a talking point anyway because of the great season he's having, and of course everybody knows he's entered into the final year of his contract anyway. This would be a talking point and a story in itself. Now, I guess Carragher's basically saying that he doesn't need to kind of stir the pot. To an extent, I sort of agree. But at the same time, again, it's not on Salah. This is on Liverpool. A lot of Liverpool fans, the vast majority of them, I'm sure, are basically in the same position I am right now, in which I have said time and time again, put the money on the table, give the guy whatever he wants, because players like him don't grow on trees. Players that show his kind of level of output, whether it be goals, assists, creativity, and also his level of consistency, are unicorns. They are extremely rare. You can't replace Mo Salah. You cannot. You can replace the position, but it's going to be very unlikely you're going to replace what he brings this Liverpool team. I just don't see it. I don't see how you can do that unless obviously you moneyball it and you go, right, we're going to have to spend in different positions and we're going to make the goals up in different areas. We're going to change our approach a little bit. That is the only way I can see that they replace him. And let's face it, Liverpool have actually shown no signs of replacing him at all in the past few years. So if he's to go now, do Liverpool have a contingency plan in place for after him? Because Federico Chiesa doesn't strike me as a replacement, because if that is to be the case, I'm worried. You go from a guy who's ever reliable, very consistent, and his injury record is obviously very minuscule in comparison to a Chiesa who's only played 10 minutes of football for Liverpool this season in all competitions, maybe about half an hour in all competitions actually. But the only reason why he's not played more is because his injury record absolutely stinks. So I don't think Chiesa is going to be the answer. I don't see a youngster in Ben Doak stepping up anytime soon. That is a massive ask for a youngster to step up in the position and fill the shoes of Mohamed Salah. So it's not like we've made steps to replace Salah anytime soon. So what exactly is the plan at Liverpool? Should we not offer Mohamed Salah a new deal, or should we actually offer it him but he rejects us? That is my question to Liverpool, which is not being answered and which has been totally just brushed over by Jamie Carragher, in my opinion, when giving his thoughts on this particular situation. Another area where I somewhat agree with Carragher. I agree that no player is ever bigger than the club. Liverpool Football Club will go on whether it's with or without Mohamed Salah, with or without Virgil van Dijk, with or without Trent Alexander-Arnold. I 100% get that, and I stated that yesterday. But as I previously mentioned, players like Mohamed Salah do not grow on trees. There is not a great abundance of right wingers out there that are delivering the same level of output season in, season out, the way that he consistently is. That's just the reality of the situation. It makes absolutely no sense to me why he would just... list the names of these great Liverpool legends and then go, oh, but Liverpool will be alright. Liverpool will be fine. Liverpool have been fine in previous years when these legends have moved on. They'll be fine without Salah, without Trent, without Van Dijk. I get that. But the fact of the matter is that we're not going to be competing consistently, in my opinion, if all three of those players do go. Yes, we may win a trophy here and a trophy there. It'll be like when I'm growing up. It'll be like when I was growing up back in the 2000s. It'll be, you'll win a Champions League, you'll win an FA Cup, won't win anything for a number of years, you'll win a Carabao Cup, won't win nothing for a few years, win an FA Cup again, may even challenge for a league title somewhere in the midst of all that, but you won't have enough to get you across the finish line, and then you'll drop off again. Stuff like that. That is what I grew up with Liverpool. That is what I personally grew up with as Liverpool. And I didn't like it because I heard all these stories about how Liverpool were amazing and incredible in the 80s. And I was like, why can't I see that from my own eyes? And the issue is because our owners didn't do enough. Our owners don't do enough. Haven't done enough. I don't want that to happen again. And I fear that if we are to lose these world-class players that we currently have within our ranks, that could potentially reoccur again. And I don't think that's what Jamie Carragher sees, because the foresight of me is a little bit more doom and gloom than seemingly his is. And I don't understand, I don't think he's seeing the bigger picture. And that's why I think these comments are very, very strange. And another point I will make is that if this is all about money, because there is talk about how, like, oh, Liverpool will have to break their wage structure in order to keep him. Break their wage structure for future years gone by. He is very worthy, verified, and has a very good case to suggest he should be on as much money as he wants and deserves. The amount of times he has rescued Liverpool, the amount of times he's carried Liverpool on his back at certain stages, the amount of, like I say, his consistency, his output, everything like that, what he's achieved at Liverpool, everything like that, he is worthy and warranted of having whatever the hell he wants thrown at him by the club. Some other players are not. You have to obviously prove yourself, and I think a lot of players at that club will obviously be they'll be wary of that. They'll understand that, I think. A lot of pundits seem to think that as soon as Liverpool break their wage structure and they offer him 400, 450, 500k a week, that suddenly other players are going to be asking for that. Suddenly, players like young academy players are going to come up and go, well, if Salah's on that, why can't I be on that? It's not necessarily how it works, and the club will obviously have to authorise more authority on that kind of aspect. But my point here is that what has been the point of the past several years if we can't even offer our best player, arguably someone who I think should be named the Premier League GOAT of Liverpool and maybe even the Premier League GOAT in general, if we can't offer him anything that he wants, what's been the point of the past several years? Genuinely, what has been the point of building us up, having all the success that we've had for the past several years, if we can't offer him whatever he wants? Now, Liverpool already pay a lot in wages anyway. Our wage bill is one of the highest in the Premier League. I get that. But that's a collective thing. That's spread out amongst the entire squad. I'm talking about one player just raising the bar, being head and shoulders above the rest. Because like I say, Salah deserves it. With what he has done for Liverpool, Salah completely 100% deserves it. But it goes back to my whole foresight and my whole sort of vision, if you like, of Liverpool losing their key players and having to restart again and going for another few years of trial and error. This player seems good. Let's see if he'll work. He didn't quite work. Let's try it on another player. Let's try it on another player. That kind of trial and error process until one very fine season we get it right and we start enjoying football again. And then it's a toss of a coin as to whether or not we continue or whether or not we flop again. That's my worry. That is my biggest worry with this whole thing, and that is where I don't think Jamie Carragher is seeing the bigger picture. I will say, I think Carragher's comments on Liverpool anyway are very, very weird. I've always accused Gary Neville of kind of not really hiding his bias when it comes to Manchester United. I feel like Carragher, on a lot of occasions, tends to go the complete opposite way. I feel like he tries to hide his bias too much, or at least he tries to go against the grain, so to speak, so people don't accuse him of being biased. I don't know what it really is, but there are some times where I hear him talk about Liverpool, and I'm like, why are you saying these things? Are you seeing something completely different to what I am, or what a lot of other people are? I don't know. It just doesn't seem to make any sense to me, this. But the fact of the matter is that I don't agree with what he says in large parts. I agree in small doses. I get it's an unwanted distraction. I get that he's no bigger than the club. 100% I agree. But I just don't think he's seeing those kind of perspectives through the right lenses or from the right angles to see the bigger picture. I really, really do not think he is seeing the bigger picture. And I had to call him out on it because I don't think it's selfish. I don't think he's wrong to talk about his future in the public eye like this. I think if Liverpool were making the right steps towards a solution to this, he wouldn't be in the public domain at all. So I think this is more on the club than it is the player. And I think Jamie Carragher is so wrong for blaming Salah. Even though Salah, yes, he is somewhat looking out for himself, but guess what? He's not getting any younger, and he still feels like he can play at a top level. And we all know that right now, they don't get much higher than Liverpool. And the ones that are higher than Liverpool are the ones that are going to be sniffing around him as soon as his contract does expire in the summer, i.e. your Real Madrids. And that is going to be a difficult job to turn down for anyone. Especially for someone who may feel like he's being a bit disrespected by the club not putting the wheels in motion a lot faster and a lot smoother than what things seem to be going right now. And that's why, I'll reiterate my point yesterday, why I am worried that Liverpool and this lackadaisical, lazy, laid-back approach they seemingly now have towards transfers and towards contract negotiations may see world-class players slip through their fingers. May see Liverpool regress over time. For this season, we might get away with it. Might. But for the long-term future, it doesn't look good. It really does not look good for the club. Anyway, those are just my thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of the comments made by Jamie Carragher in regards to Mohamed Salah and his contract situation at Liverpool? Let me know what you guys are thinking and feeling down below in that comment section. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you are new or want to see more content like this. Both things always and forever be greatly appreciated. Thank you all so much for watching and listening, guys. Really do appreciate it. And I also appreciate your continued or even brand new support to me and the channel. So thank you all so much for that. That will never be taken for granted. Thank you all so much for doing all of that stuff. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video, and I'll see you speak to you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Speak to you all again very soon.